What's going on, everyone? Today we're going to talk about this wired freedom bike a little bit because I've received numerous messages, emails, comments on my videos asking me about this potential wobble in the front end of the wired bike. Apparently there's some Facebook post about it with a video showing the front end handlebar shaking and wobbling, and you wanted me to weigh in on this issue. And I guess first I should say I'm no expert in anything. I'm not a bicycle tech. I'm not a frame designer, engineer, suspension expert, none of that. I'm just a guy on YouTube. But I did want to try to investigate this myself and see what information I can provide to everyone on this topic. You know, does it wobble? How does it happen? Why does it happen? Can you fix it? What's the deal with this? Can I replicate it or not? So that's the very first thing I did was I set out and I tried to replicate the wobbling handlebars that I saw in that video clip. So here's what happened. All right, folks, here is the latest version of the Wired Freedom. And I was able to get my hands on this production model. This is exactly what customers receive. It's got the flatter rear rack battery. The rear rack's also been kind of shifted back on the bike a little bit to allow clearance for the seat during the full suspension travel if you have it really soft. So I wanted to make sure I had the right one for testing on this potential issue. So let's go see if we can replicate a wobble in this thing. So I'm gonna spin around here. We're gonna run it up to like 15 miles an hour maybe and let go of the handlebars, see what happens. All right, well there's 20, let's let go. Nothing yet. Hitting kind of like little ripples here in the road, but let's hit the sewer grate here. No, that didn't do it either. Okay, so no wobble that time. Spin around here, we'll try it again. I want to get this thing wobbling and I want to find out what it takes to make it wobble. Okay, I'll go 20 again. Nothing. How can I make it wobble? I can make it wobble. If I hit the bars, it wobbles. All right, well, let's do that again. So 20 will initiate it. Oh boy, and it can't recover. Okay, so is that the issue? When you let go of the bars and hit it and make it wobble, it wobbles? I mean, let's try, get my balance here. Let's try pedaling a little bit. That motor kick in. All right, this road's got a lot of defects in it here. Bumps and cracks and ridges and let's see, something's bound to set it off here. Yes, no? Whoa. Go around this curve. Okay, it's doing all right here. I mean, I seem to be able to ride this okay, no-handed. Come on, do it. So, I don't know, I mean, if I initiate it, it'll do it. But maybe if I hit a big enough pothole, it'll start it. Let's go back this road. Maybe I can find a bigger bump to hit and try to dislodge the steering. That seems to be what does it. If I knock the steering out, here's another manhole cover. Nope, it didn't do it. Here's another one. I'm going to try to hit every bump I can here. That didn't do it. I don't know. Come on. All right, I got it. Can I make the curve? I'm gonna make the curve. I can steer it, and it's not wobbling. So, if I wiggle, didn't wobble there. All right, let's keep going. We're gonna do it. We're gonna figure this out. I know there's a defect in the road right up here. I'm gonna hit it. Oh wait, is that it? Is it going? There it goes. All right, so I hit a little bit of a bump back there and it triggered it. So it seems to be when you are riding no-handed and something disrupts your steering, it can kind of set it in motion. Let's hit this manhole cover, maybe it'll do it. Nope. All right, well, you have to, something has to initiate it, it looks like. to get it to start wobbling. I don't know what to say there. I mean, you're not hanging onto the bars, but it doesn't recover. Is that the problem, I guess? If something initiates it. There it goes. All right, see those little ripples in the road set it off. So I guess that's your issue. Little imperfections in the road set this thing to wobble. And once it starts the little thing, it can't recover. I mean, I barely touched the bars there and it's into full wobble. So I guess that's the problem that people are talking about. I mean, I'm just gonna ride here for a while, no-handed, and see what happens. There's a bump right here. Let's hit this bump. Did that do it? That did it. That little bump did it. So there's your problem replicated. Something jostles the steering, no-handed, it wobbles. I haven't felt it at all riding it around, you know, one-handed. I mean, as long as you have your hand on there, it kind of acts like a dampener. You know, it doesn't, I can force it to start and then the weight of your hand corrects it. So, I mean, two-handed, I don't feel anything at all. I mean, I can wiggle it, but it's right back to straight. I don't know. I mean, I don't feel, I can feel the suspension squishing when I do this, but that's because I have it's in the softest setting possible. It would probably handle better if I tighten that up a bit. I don't really do that often though. I don't really wildly swerve. I don't know. But I think we've replicated it. If something disrupts it, it'll start wobbling and it cannot recover. It just exponentially spirals out of control. All right, so I know you're wondering about the cruiser bike too. Does the cruiser do the same thing? Well, we're out testing. I took some big zip ties here. We strapped a battery pack onto the rear rack, simulate the in-rack battery that I don't have on this one. But let's go show you what it does. I mean, spoiler alert, it's pretty much the exact same thing as the Freedom. That's why I focused on the Freedom, because that's what's being delivered to people right now. This bike doesn't really come out till like August, but let's run it up to, 15, 20. There's 20, we let go. I mean, it tracks straight. It doesn't wobble unless you make it wobble. You have to physically bump the bars or hit something that really jostles it in order for it to wobble. So now if I start it, it can't recover. So pretty much the same exact thing. You can ride it no-handed, but if you make it wobble, it doesn't recover from the wobble. Let's put it in 2 and we'll do some pedaling. All right, get my balance. All right, there we go. I mean, it tracks pretty straight. But if you were doing this and something triggers it, hits it, then you're out of control. So same exact thing on the cruiser. Okay, so as you saw, I was able to replicate a wobble in the handlebars. You just have to let go of the bars and hit it with your hand or have the road surface knock it out of alignment. And once it starts wobbling, it doesn't recover, right? Now the next topic that I've seen brought up is to do with the rear suspension and the frame. And there's a clip where people stand beside the bike and they like shake the handlebars and it kind of ripples and wiggles the back end of the bike. And that is something actually I see quite a bit. That's pretty common. There's a lot of bikes I've had that do that. It's mostly step-through bikes that've got that frame flex where you shake the handlebars or you shake the handlebars while you're riding, it ripples through like a serpent and it makes the back end wiggle. That's actually pretty common. I see that quite a bit. So I don't know if that is a frame design flaw? I don't know. If so, then I think that exists on a bunch of other bikes. I think the worst one I had was probably the Ebike Hero. And nothing against Ebike. I love Ebikes. Make some great bikes. But that Ebike Hero, it was a step through and it was full suspension and it was carbon fiber. And it was really wiggly. If you did the whole shake the bar thing, it really rippled like a serpent. So I don't know that that is like if that ripple through the bike is a flaw or not. A lot of bikes have that. So again, I'm not an expert. I don't know. Leading back, let's go back to the wobble. let's stay on topic for the wobble. And I don't recall my 2024, that black Wired Freedom I had. I don't remember that having any kind of wobbling at all on it. And that bike didn't have the rear battery pack. You know, this has the rear rack battery. So maybe that's what's causing the problem, right? So I took that battery pack out of the rack, went out and rode the bike again, tried to make a wobble. Here's what happened. Okay, let's test this Wired Freedom bike without the rear battery installed. So an empty rear rack, pretty much no weight on the back. See what happens now. Get up to our 15-mile-an-hour mark. There. Oh, 20 actually. I mean, we're hitting a lot of bumps in the road and it ain't moving. Hit the sewer grate here. Nothing. Start a wobble. I can't even generate one. So, extremely stable now. Can't even really make it wobble. Let's try to make this thing wobble. Okay, 20 mile an hour. Kind of self-corrects now. That weight in the back is a big factor. And I'm hitting these bars hard. I can't even make it wobble now without that battery in the back. So, there you go. It's very locked on now. I mean, we're going over, not big bumps, but definitely uneven road. No issue. Let's see if I can navigate this turn. No problem. Amazing how much weight in the rear end of the bike changes things. I feel like I could ride this all day, like this, no-handed. I can't stop no-handed though. All right, now as you saw, removing that rear battery pack pretty much eliminated any wobbliness in the front end of the bike. So that led me on the path of, okay, maybe this is not a frame flex issue. Maybe this is a weight distribution issue. Having that weight far back, high up on the bike, that's throwing off your steering, right? So I decided I was going to test this on a bunch of other bikes, and I went down this rabbit hole of putting weight on the back of a whole bunch of other bikes to see if they would wobble, and here's how that went. All right, time to test out the Euphree Stellar Falcon bike, and I've put a rear pack on the back, and I put in one Citizen Cycle battery pack, so 10 pounds. There's 10 pounds in this bag. That's how much that battery weighs. Let's see if 10 pounds on the rear rack does anything to this bike. Get it up to our speed of about 15 here, and we'll let go, see what happens. Okay. Immediate wobble. Immediate wobble again. I mean, I don't even have to bump the bars. This one just wobbles immediately with the weight on the rear rack. 10 pounds. 10 pounds on the back is all it took to get this bike to wobble like that. That's surprising. 10 pounds. I mean, that's pretty reasonable that you can expect someone to put a bag on the back and put 10 pounds in it. And that changes the... Oh, wow, look at that. I mean, and it's not a knock on this bike. I really love this bike. This is an awesome bike from Euphree. It's still a Falcon. Fantastic bike. But it does the same wobble here with just a little bit of weight on the back rack. One more time. There you go. Now let's test this RollRoad Emma 3.0 step-through frame moped style bike. I put 2 Citizen batteries in this case, so 20 pounds in there. Let's see. I don't think that's unreasonable that someone could put 20 pounds in there. All right, let's see what happens on this one. I gotta tell you, this bike is really, really hard to ride no-handed. I struggle to ride no hands. It kind of wants to fall side to side, but run it up to, I don't know, around 15-ish, let go. Oh, it's so hard to balance this thing. I don't see any wobble in it. Unless you hit the bars and start it. Recovered there. Whoa, did not recover on that one. Not on that one either. You bump it. Yeah, okay, no recovery. So I got a feeling if you, I don't know why people hit the bars like that. I guess they're simulating hitting a pothole no-handed. But, I mean, kind of does the same thing. I really struggle to balance this thing. It's really hard to ride no-handed. Pothole coming, hit it. Hey, there's your wobble. I mean, I don't know what to say. It's pretty easy to generate a wobble on a lot of different style bikes here. Now we got the Aventon Adventure 2 bike, 26x4 fat tires. We got our 10-pound battery pack in the rear pack. Well, let's see how she does. Squeaky seat. All right, we're up to about 15, 16. Let's let go. Uh-oh. We got a little wobble here. Can it recover? I mean, it's wiggly. It doesn't seem to be getting exponentially worse, though. Interesting. So it wobbles, but it's not getting totally out of control. I mean, that's just 10 pounds on the back. 10 pounds is all it takes. 10 pounds is all it takes to make these things wobble. We're gonna do it now. Okay, now we're locked on straight. Oh, we hit some bumps in the road. It's wiggling. So wiggly, not wobbly though. It's not getting itself completely out of control, but it is wobbling. If I bump it, bumping it doesn't seem to make it go further. So this one's a weird one. It'll wobble and wiggle, but it doesn't, I guess, get totally out of control. Just bump it. It starts to wobble and it'll just keep wobbling the same amount. It doesn't get itself wildly out of control, but it is wobbling. Now, if you hit a bump during a wobble, you know, then what happens? I mean, so there you go. This one wiggles, wobbles, wiggle wobble, which I'm surprised at how such little weight on the back. It's not unreasonable to think that someone's going to put a rear pack on here and put 10 pounds in it. And you're going to get this effect out of your steering. All right, let's test out the Citizen Big E-Venture bike, the PeeWee replica bike. The only weight I've got on the rear end of this is the empty saddlebags and then the original Radrover battery, weighs 8 pounds. It's on the rack. I relocated it from frame to the rear. So I've got the 8-pound battery, empty saddlebags on here on this rigid frame. Let's see what it does for wobble. All right. Get up to speed here. We'll go about, let's say about 15 and let go. All right. Immediate crazy wobble. Yeah. This is not a step through. This is not a full suspension. This is rigid frame, hardtail, whatever you want to call it. Once it starts going, there's no recovering. I'm not even bumping the bars. It's just the road surface slightly kicking it, you know, out of whack, and it can't recover. I'll do it on the way back here. Ooh, yeah, hit that sewer grate and it went. But even just the slightest thing sends this thing into uncontrollable wobble. So even on a hardtail. Now, as you saw, adding as little as 10 pounds to the rear rack of the bike threw off the steering on a bunch of different bikes. It didn't seem to matter what kind of bike it was or what frame design. It didn't matter if they were step over or step through or full suspension, a moped style, commuter style, rigid frame. They all had a wobbliness introduced into the front end by putting a little bit of weight onto the back. So now I'm kind of on this weight distribution track, right? I've been doing this for like 2 days. And I want to see now, is there a way to like counteract this? Can you add weight to the front to stop the wiggle? And I thought of my my 2024 Wired, the black bike, right? It's the same frame, same identical frame to this, but I've got my Citizen front motor kit on it. So now I've got, 10 pounds in the rear rack with that battery and then my front motor kit. So now I've got weight added to the front. I don't know how much that motor weighs, probably 10, 12 pounds in there at least. Putting that weight forward and low, did that counteract? Would that bike wiggle? So I went out and took it for a ride and just to see what would happen. Here's what happened. Okay, let's test out this Wired Freedom bike. Pretty much exactly the same frame design as the new ones. They didn't really change anything on the frame. The rear rack is a little bit different, but this one has my front motor kit installed. So I've now got some weight here in the front end and down low. See if that makes a difference. In the rear pack, I put, of course, my Citizen battery in here. So 10 pounds in this bag on the back. I got it positioned in the rear of the rack, slid back. 10 pounds on the rear rack. That should be enough to cause the wobble, right? It's done it on other bikes. Let's see what happens now. Does the weight of the front motor kit in the front help or hurt? Let's see. We go up to about 20, let go. You can see the handlebars bouncing as we hit bumps here. It's tracking straight. If I bump it, corrected, bump it, corrected, bump, I'm hitting it pretty hard here. So it seems the weight in the front has helped. It's not wobbling. We'll try it again here on the way back just to make sure. Spin around. Get up to speed. Okay. Oh, there's a little bit. Is it going to go? No. Corrected. Bump it. I'm hitting it hard enough to get it to go back and forth, but it's self-correcting. It's now self-correcting. So that weight in the front has helped. The distribution, adding weight to the front, it now does not, it doesn't wobble. It doesn't wobble at all, really, even if you try to make it. So, yeah, problem solved right there. Won't do it. Self-correct. So, you know what that means. You know what that means. The answer, the solution to this problem is that everybody needs to go out and buy my front motor kit for their bike. If it has a wobble in the front end, right? You gotta go get yourself a Citizen front motor kit. But seriously, adding that weight into the front does seem to have helped. It helped having it forward and low like that. They said, I don't know how much this motor weighs in that front wheel, I've never weighed a motor. I would guess it probably weighs maybe 10 or 12 pounds-ish. But yeah, that seemed to kind of really correct things. There's no wobbling in it at all. So I don't know. I'm actually sold out of my kits right now, but maybe I'll make some more soon. We'll see. Now, the fact that that bike didn't wiggle or wobble at all kind of leads me to believe that the culprit here is weight on the back end of a bicycle. Any bicycle, really, kind of throws off the steering. Now, there was a couple bikes I could not get to wobble. I could not get the Magic Cycle Oscillate Pro to wiggle or wobble at all. That thing was like a rock. I don't know. Why? Why is that one so secure? Is it the weight distribution on that bike is just more evenly balanced? Was it the 20-inch wheels bringing the center of gravity lower? I have no idea. Again, not an expert in this at all, but that bike was solid, man. It would not wobble. Same with the Furious EMX Ultimate bike, like a rock. It wouldn't wobble at all. That one, I got some theories on that one. It's a dual motor bike, right? It's got a motor in the front wheel, so it has that weight in the front. It also has mag wheels on it. I'm looking at it right now. It's got mag wheels on it. So it's got heavier wheels. It's got weight from motors in both wheels. It's very low centered mass. Maybe that's what kept it so sturdy. I don't know. But I wasn't able to replicate it on every bike, but I was able to get, quite a few of them in this garage to wobble. Okay, now let's talk solutions. So if you're experiencing this kind of wobbliness in the front end of your bike, whatever bike it is, I don't know that I have the exact solution for you, right? Again, not an expert right here. But I have a couple things I'm going to say. Number one, keep your hands on the handlebars. Having at least one hand on the handlebars seems to kind of alleviate it completely. So hang on to the handlebars, I guess. The second thing is if you don't need that rear rack battery in there, if you don't need the range, take it out. Take it out. Or if you have whatever XYZ bike, same issue, and you've got a lot of weight on the back, take some of that weight out if you don't need it, or try to move it to the front. Maybe that'll help. The other thing is, someone sent me a screenshot of Wired telling them to tighten this stem bolt right here. Tighten the stem bolt, and that should eliminate the problem. And I tried that. I went out and experimented with that, with the stem bolt loose, with it tight. And I will say, the tighter that stem bolt was, I really cranked it down. The tighter I made it, the better it was. So I think there is something to that. That would be, if you have this bike, you have that problem, whatever, I would tighten that. Yeah, it seemed to help. I didn't totally get rid of it, but it seemed to help out. If any of you are an expert in this area and you know exactly what's going on here, definitely drop us some valuable information in the comments below. I'd love for someone to educate me more on exactly what's happening here, their fixes to it, what am I forgetting, what don't I know about this, how do you solve it, any kind of that information, put in the comments for us, help us out. I'm making this video just to kind of show you all the results of my investigation as just your average Joe looking into it, but I hope you found it helpful or at least interesting to watch. If you did, subscribe. Hope to see you all later. Thanks.